Andrew here. Did you ever have one of those days where you just get up, you look at your schedule, and you just go, oh, this is going to be brutal? Well, today was one of those days for me, and God bless those kids. Most of them try, and it's not them personally, it's just where they're at. Some of them, it is them personally, and they're just being difficult. But like I mentioned before, I love this job. Today was really representing only 10%. One of those days where you just have to grind, grind, grind to get through the day with a headache or whatever by the end of it. But for me, I love 90% of this job. Today was probably the 10% of that job. But anyways, got through it. Let's go into resuming the tips for today. So if you haven't, go back, take a look at a couple videos that I've done just in the last week. I've gone in through tip 1 through 8, tip 9 through 17, and now we're going to get into day 3, another 8 tips today, just on how to increase bookings. What I'm looking to do for the month of March, I'm trying to grind to get to 300. So we've got 31 days in the month of March. Give me about 10 bookings a day is what I'm trying to do. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Last month, for the month of February, I had 238. That was a shortened month because there's not as many days, and I was away for some of it also where I wasn't teaching. So let's see what happens. We're putting a goal. I always say for all the teachers out there, put a goal in place. Whether you're part-time, full-time, whatever, put a goal in place every month. That's just something that will hold you accountable a little bit. And it's a fun game to play. And, sometimes you won't come close. And I've done that. I had my first month of teaching. I had 29 bookings. That's it. 29. So that was back in the month of November. So I was looking for a lot more and I didn't come even close. But put the goals out there, see what will happen, and work to get it. Try that, and maybe that will help you as well. Just keep you to task on what you're looking to do, what you're looking to achieve for the month. So without further ado, let's get into the 8 tips for today. So first one, I will give credit where credit is due. And after my last video on tips, Jen Ferrari mentioned about learning some Mandarin, and I love that. She mentioned especially learning thank you, and saying that to the parents at the end of the class if they're present, especially with the young kids when they're often sitting with the young ones, the level 1s or level 2s or whatnot, to tell them thank you at the end. So I went up and I started to look up some basic Mandarin, and I believe for thank yous, 谢谢. So say 谢谢 at the end of class. So even if you learned some basic Mandarin, here's some basic stuff that I come up with. Just how are you, circle, what is your name? And again, I know we don't want to go overboard on it. It is English class, but at the same time, there's some places where some basic Mandarin would be very, very helpful, especially for the trial classes where they're just sometimes totally out in left field. And I know I would be if I was learning Mandarin. I would be totally out in left field. So it is nice to be able to do that. And Jen mentioned also about saying thank you, that it is very cultural. I mean, it is for our culture, but I think for them especially, just to acknowledge them. And I think that is very important by saying thank you to them for allowing us to teach their child. And for a lot of them, they've only got one child. So this is, very precious. Not that our children aren't precious to us, but anyways, just learn some basic Mandarin. 谢谢 is thank you. So maybe say that at the end of the class. Number 2, every lesson. Every lesson, bring up this bad boy. Now, of course, not with these tips, but have something for them on a whiteboard on every lesson. So it doesn't have to be well prepared. You can do it right in class, but just show the parents that you're using the whiteboard every lesson. And for me, what I do is I literally have one whiteboard dedicated for the he, she, its, I, you, we, they. This guy does never get erased. Never do I erase this guy unless the writing is so terrible that we can no longer make it out, which does happen every so often. But have a whiteboard up there for every lesson and whatever you use it for. Now, I use this guy pretty much every lesson for some of them, but use a whiteboard every lesson. It's a great visual. It's just, you can't go wrong. It helps learning. It looks good to the parents. You can't go wrong with the whiteboard, so try and have one every lesson. Okay, number 3, holidays. We've got holidays coming up, or different things, and in America or Canada or China, whatever. Decorate for the holidays. And I feel this is very important because it just shows that you're staying on top of things. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. You could spend $2 at the Dollar Tree or $10 at the Dollar Tree and get everything you need to get your point across that you're staying current. I especially like if you update your video as well. So maybe 3 to 4 weeks before the holiday, you update it. It just shows when a parent looks at the video, they'll be like, wow, this person is on top of things, and it doesn't take much. Even if you do your video, you do the exact same video, but you've got your background decorated with the holiday that's upcoming. I think that is very important to get as many bookings as possible. So decorate for the holidays, Easter, and it doesn't have to be a super big holiday. It could be Valentine's Day, it could be St. Patrick's Day, it could be Chinese New Year, whatever. Decorate for the holidays. And sometimes I'm guilty of this. I'm not staying fully current. I try to decorate, but again, if you want to increase your bookings, that is a good way to do it. Okay, number 4. So, supplementary courses. Now, I was shy at doing this up front, but oh man, you got to get them. Sometimes they aren't my favorite, like the free talk class is just, I don't like that one just because it's very tough to time. I find it's very tough to time that course to get it done in around the 25 to 27 minutes. When you're trying to grind out these bookings, you can't have classes where you're all over the place. So anyways, I still have that one, but try and get as many supplementary courses as you can because that will just add to your bookings. You can't go wrong. If you don't like the course, you can always have it removed. So for me, I took out the trial courses because I had enough, and the pay was coming down because no one was coming to the trial class. I was hitting like 50%. So anyways, that's a separate issue, but basically get as many supplementary courses as you can. If you don't like them, then maybe tail them, come back a little bit, but I teach some courses I don't like. I just do it because it's good to have, and it's building up my own skills as well and the different soundings and stuff like that. So get every supplementary course you can. Number 5, tell them why. And I have mentioned this one before a little while ago, but tell the parents why it is important to leave you feedback. That is where things really turned around for me when I started telling the parents why to leave me feedback, that I'm teaching full time, that this is helping me teach more kids, keep it basic English that will translate well over into Mandarin. Tell them why. It will bring up your 5 apple. It will. It definitely will. It has for me anyways. Okay, consistent. Your schedule needs to be consistent. If your schedule is all over the place where you're working nights one week, you're working mornings another week, and I know some people have to do that because their schedule, that's how it is. Maybe your shift work or whatever. I understand. But if you can keep your schedule consistent, that will help you, because if the parent can see, okay, Andrew's going to be working this same 3-hour slots every week, then they can say, well, I could see little Bao Bao staying in that class at that certain time every week. So keep your schedule as consistent as possible, at least your core hours. Now you can shuffle around. Like for me, I work a little later nights sometimes, but I usually keep the mornings roughly the same, give or take half an hour. So try and keep things consistent as possible. Number 7, family and house. Now, this is, again, a personal thing, but what I suggest anyways is, if you can, maybe not for the first class, but if you can show them around your house a little bit, so that you can make it educational, that you can show them your family, that you can open up your personal side of things. Now, again, you probably don't want to be doing this for your first class, and I know you can't do this for very long because there's lesson objectives we got to cover, but if you can keep it educational. And I saw one teacher that mentioned, I forget who it was, but said about going on a little field trip in the house. Say that and show them, some different things that can be applicable for the lesson that they will. It's just a way to build rapport and open up a little bit on your personal side. And I know I think this is in a workshop, but one person said, well, I got to go clean the house first before I do that, which, yes, that is true. But anyways, if you can open up your personal side or even show pictures. I like showing pictures of family stuff. That's a nice thing. So I have a picture of us at the beach, stuff like that, where you can just say, for beach or for ocean or whatever. Just something like that. They will light up when they see your family and they see something that's applicable to the lesson as well, which is great. So the number 8, last tip, teach again. So what I mean by that is tell them at the end of class, if you want to, I should say, that you want to teach them again. Say that, I really appreciate, or you did such a great job, I would love to teach you again sometime. Something like that to end class. It is so important. Don't just say goodbye. Say goodbye. Maybe if you don't want to teach them again, don't lie to them. But if you want to teach them again, tell them. Tell them that I would love to teach you again. And I think that just ends on a good note. It gives them a little more incentive to come back into class also, that they know that you want them to teach them. They don't know. They honestly do not know unless you tell them. They don't know how you feel. Maybe they could feel that your facial expressions say that you don't want to teach them again. So tell them at the end of class. It's just a good reinforcement to let them know that they're appreciated and that you would love to teach them again. So those are the 8 tips there for today. Hopefully that helps you. We're going to go into day 4 there this week. Subscribe to my channel if you can. Like my videos if they're helpful to you. This is a 5-part series, so we're going to do 40 tips in all for bookings, and they've helped me. I've gone from 29 bookings in the month of November. It was a partial month. I started November 11th, and now we're trying to hit 300. So we're trying to go tenfold in the matter of 5 months. So they're helping me. They may not help you. I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. What I like to do with everything else I see is I pick and choose what works good for me, what works good for my personality, and apply them. The same things that work for me are not going to work for you, but maybe there are some things that you can take that you can run with. So hopefully that helps. Another frenzy coming up here. All the best.